Last year's shortened Canadian Superbike Championship season saw Jordan Zoek win 4 of 4 races and claim his record 14th national number 1 plate. Going into 2021, Zoek's eyes are on the prize again. Can 2019 champion Ben Young take back his crown? Or, after a sensational 2020 Pro Superbike debut season, will Samuel Garand charge to the top of the box? Hello everyone, and welcome to Calabogie Motorsports Park. Welcome to the first round of the CSBK 2021 Superbike Series, presented by Yuasa Batteries. Right now we're moving into qualifying for the Superbike class, and this is presented by Canadian Kawasaki Motors. It is for the Yuasa Batteries Pole Award. Our thanks go out to Mopar, to Yuasa Batteries, Joe Rocket, and Liqui Moly for making this broadcast possible. We are live on YouTube and we'll be covering the qualifications for the Superbike. The bikes, as you heard, have just gone out on their sighting lap. They'll do 1 lap around. Once they get the green light on the front straightaway, they're on timing, and we're going to give you some lap times. Now, from practice this morning, it was Alex Dumas aboard the Suzuki GSXR 1000 who was fast boy. He was a 2 minute and 2 seconds, .605. Ben Young was right behind him. The Braveheart is obviously back in shape and ready to go back and put that number 1 plate this time on the front of his bike. He missed it, a chance of that, of course, when the COVID come around, and he, amongst another group of riders, were unable to compete. So again, Ben Young in second spot. Tommy Casas has got the number 18 Yamaha into third spot. Now that is just in the practice sessions, but it gives us a very good idea where they're going to be going through this qualifying session. Trevor Daly ended up in fourth spot on the Suzuki. Jordan Zoek brought it in fifth spot. Now Zoek was on his B bike. That's important. He may have to draw a little bit harder when the actual qualifying comes out, and he will be on his A bike. He's probably on track right now, as a matter of fact. The bikes are now making their way through turns 18, 19. They'll come across come up the hill rather, in through turn 20. That's a slight left hand that'll bring them onto the front straightaway here at Calabogie Motorsports. And at that point, they'll hit their top speeds. There they are in the background going through top speeds recorded this morning for Alex Dumas. 148 miles per hour was the top speed recorded by that Suzuki. In second spot in the BMW, as we mentioned, Ben Young posted a 147 mile an hour run. And we've got a red flag already. Okay, we've had a mishap on track, so we'll get a update on that just as soon as possible. And the indications are, I think it was Alex Dumas, Jordan Zoek just came into the pit area and he motioned to Patrice Goyette, the tuner and the preparer of Alex Dumas's bike, so it looks like it may be Dumas who's down. Number 74, Michael Leon, has come back in. There is Samuel Garand, rather. He is back in. There's the number 5 of Jordan Royds as he rolls back into the pit area. So activity on the track, and we'll see if we can get an update as to exactly what's happening out there. But bottom line is we have had a mishap, obviously, on track. We've gone to red flag, and we are on hold at this point in time. Michael Leon having just gone by. Now, I mention him because one of the neat things we're going to be doing here today at Calabogie Motorsports, and it's the first time in CSBK history, we're going to have a live camera on a bike. Now, you know we've mounted cameras on bikes facing forward, facing backwards, and we get to see the footage, of course, after the fact. This time, the camera's going to be live. You're going to be watching Michael Leon as he goes around this racetrack. It's not recorded, it's live on YouTube. So again, we'll see if we can get an update on exactly what our status is at this point in time. Really caught off guard with this one. We did not anticipate any problems. We had not had any problems through the practice sessions for the Superbikes. But this time around, we have run into a bit of a problem, so we'll get an update on that just as quick as possible. Further down the line, by the way. Yes. Yes, he is, yeah. Alex Dumas on the number 23 Suzuki. This is his first appearance in Canada, by the way. He has an illustrious career south of the border. He won the KTM Cup, and then he moved into the Twins division, won that, moved into sport bike, and was doing very well indeed. And then Alex has decided rather to change his career. As opposed to a professional motorcycle racer, he's going to be a pilot. And at this point in time, he's taking his flying lessons up in Quebec, and will soon be flying for one of the major airlines, we suspect. But meanwhile, of course, he's got some business to conduct here on the racetrack at Calabogie. And that business may be a little bit stalled right now, as we're not quite sure what the status is of that. Now, Graham Jones is going to be working alongside me today, and he'll be feeding me some information as the day goes on, and we'll see if we can get an update from him very shortly. That's going to happen. Graham makes his way down the pit area. I wanted to share with you that we have an excellent turnout in Superbike racers today, and I was kind of neglecting my duties by not mentioning the other riders who have qualified for the qualifying session, practice for the qualifying session, including Elliot Vieira, the number 33 rider. He in from Toronto, Ontario, and sponsored by Snow City Cycle and Liqui Moly. Picked up a new sponsorship from him. And speaking of Liqui Moly, as we mentioned, they are a part sponsor of this broadcast, and they are also a big supporter of Alex Dumas. Guillaume Fortin was in 13 spots, the French rider. Then number 905, Michael Van Eck, brought it home in 12th in the practice sessions this morning. Vincent Lavillon on the 176 machine had mechanical difficulties, but nonetheless still ended up in 11th spot, with Ernest Bernard on the 72 machine in 10th spot. Jordan Royd's story in itself on the number 5, pro rookie, he ended up in 9th spot, where Samuel Guerin on the number 2 machine has brought it home in 8th spot through the practice sessions. 7th spot went to number 74, Michael Leon, with Ivan Babic on the number 31 machine bringing it home in 6th spot. We mentioned Jordan Zook, of course, in 5th.
Incident was turn 13.
Turn 13 was the incident that they've told us about. This racetrack, by the way, has got 20 corners in it. It is a long way around this race course, and as we mentioned, the top speeds, these guys are really hauling the mail. So we'll wait for an update on Alex Dumas. We're hoping that everything is all right. We've gone to red flag, but to the best of my knowledge, no medical people have rolled, so I think we're going to be okay. Just a matter of getting him back into the pit area. Meanwhile, I'm hoping that we'll have a chance to chat with some of our riders and get an update on what's going on in their personal pit area and with their personal motorcycles as well. We can see from here the bikes are starting to come back in. Now, in a red flag situation, the riders are instructed to stop on the course as safely as they can to the nearest marshal station, and that's exactly what's happened. So these riders have been held out there. There goes Louis Rafa on the 76, Ivan Babic on the number 3 machine. And here comes Graham Jones with an update for us, so we'll fill you in on exactly what we have. Okay, so we'll get an update on that after a while. Turn 12 and 13, the scene of the mishap, and we're still waiting for news to filter down. Well, this is an auspicious start to things. There's Elliot Vieira. I wonder if we could maybe get a word in with him. He had a difficult qualifying session, if that's a wise choice. Vieira on the number 33 machine, and he's the one, as I mentioned, that picked up the sponsorship from Liqui Moly to contest the 2021 season. Last year, of course, in 2020, it was Jordan Zook that won all 4 of our races, 2 of them here at Calabogie Motorsports, and then 2 more at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, or what we used to know as Mosport. In the second race in particular at Mosport last year, Jordan Zook was a bit of a surprise in the second race in that he had gone out and done one lap around. See, we had changing conditions, and some of the riders had gone to rain tires, some of the riders had gone to slicks. Zoke wasn't sure, so he went around one lap, made his decision, but it cost him dearly. It meant that he had to start from pit row. He had to start from the very last place, and it didn't seem to faze him. He worked his way through the pack and won his fourth in a row. He will wear the number 1 plate this year. And unfortunately, Ben Young, the defending number 1 plate holder, was unable because of COVID. I'm going to blame it on COVID. He and Tommy Casas were two of the top runners that did not appear on the scene last year. And their sponsors were 100% behind them, by the way. But they are definitely back this year. And we witnessed that Young in second spot in the practice session and Tommy Casas in third spot in the practice session this morning, that they are obviously very much up to speed. Oh, here's a chance to talk to the guy that's going to carry our camera live today, Michael Leon. Let's have a chat with the Lion. Michael Leon.
Hi.
Thanks for good. It's going really well, Michael. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for volunteering to carry that camera for us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to do. We're excited to be the first to have a live streaming onboard camera for CSBK. It's great for us, great for our sponsors, and fun for the series.
What a giant step this is, being able to have a drone. We're going to have a drone going today. We have 5 cameramen, static camera, and of course cameras on bike. But as you mentioned, Michael, for the very first time, we're going to have it live. How did it come to be that they chose you?
I don't know. I didn't ask those questions when they called. They wanted to know if we would do it, and of course I said yes. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned this is great for your sponsors. This is a great thing for your sponsors. So let's talk about them for a moment. Because this morning, during the practice sessions and what have you, I was commenting that I believe that your association with your sponsor has been one of the longest partnerships that I've ever seen in motorsports, certainly in motorcycle racing.
Yeah, my title sponsor, the title sponsor for our team is Royal Distributing, and we've been working with them since 2008, I believe. I started with them when I raced for KTM in the Canadian Thunder Series, and then we transitioned with them to various makes and models. I've raced many different motorcycles, as you know, and we've just kind of continued to grow with them over the years, and it's been really fun.
You've grown to be quite comfortable on that BMW S1000RR that you pilot.
Yeah, I'm loving the new bike. We started on it last year. It's a 2020. And for this year, we were able to upgrade the electronics to the BMW kit ECU, and it's given my crew, Kyle from Windmill, and Jared and the boys a lot to tinker with. There's a lot of adjustability, and we can really get in there and fine-tune the TC and the engine braking, and it's been really great.
I was very pleased indeed to see you arrive at the racetrack this morning, Michael, because you got your whole family with you.
Yeah, they came up to support me. Unfortunately, they can't stay for the race tomorrow because my daughter has to work and the other daughter has softball, but they're here to watch qualifying, here to cheer me on, put the team shirts on, and I'm happy that they made it.
Earlier today when they were out for their practice session, I warned people, we were broadcasting on the FM broadcast system here at Calabogie Motorsports, and I warned people I'm going to be using the F word today, and I'm going to be using it often. Fans. The fans are back.
It's amazing. It's so good. We thrive on having them here and coming to say hi during lunchtime and getting everybody getting to check out the racing, because that's what it's all about. It makes it more fun.
Has that been happening with you?
Yeah,
today?
Yeah, for sure. I had some folks step in that I hadn't seen last year because they weren't able to come, and there was one couple. They were from Quebec actually. They were saying, we were watching. It said no spectators. Then as soon as they saw they were allowed to buy tickets, they bought tickets and they were here today.
That's awesome. Yeah, really good fan turnout, and we got a perfect day for it, Michael.
It's beautiful. The weather, you couldn't beat the weather. It's awesome.
Now, talking about weather and talking about qualifying, and practice yesterday was far different weather conditions. How does that affect your setup for today in warm, humid conditions?
Yeah, it was a little bit overcast. I think that everyone's going a little bit faster today. The sun is helping. The track's a little warmer, and also the additional track time. We're still struggling a little bit to get up to pace. We're kind of at the back of the lead pack right now. I think we were 7th or 8th this morning. Still trying to chip the time away. But we made some changes going into the session here, and hoping to find at least a second or a second and a half, which is a big ask, but we got our fingers crossed.
Well, we mentioned that we're live on YouTube. Did you bother phoning home and you don't have to phone the family, of course, but did you phone friends and tell them you're going to be on live?
Of course, I shared it. I shared it on Facebook. Shared the link to for folks to subscribe to the CSBK YouTube channel, and hopefully they did.
I'm wondering if the people down at Royal Distributing have got you on the TV in the showroom right now.
I don't know. Maybe.
Michael, you mentioned to me a couple of years ago, actually, that this career is not going to last forever. Eventually you're going to retire, but you're never going to quit this sport.
I don't know. I think when I stop racing, I may take a little bit of time away, but I really enjoy it. So after that, maybe, running a team, or I really enjoy coaching. I've been coaching a lot with Pro 6 Cycle. They run all the track days here at Calabogie. And, I've been able to offer some of their customers coaching services, and it's fun. One-on-one, you get to work with the people and see often, especially when they're riding in the green group, they can make huge strides forward, shaving 10 seconds off their lap time or touching their knee for the first time. It's exciting to watch them do that. So,
Michael, we already covered the fact that you got your whole family here, that friends and acquaintances and what have you from home are going to be watching. You're the only person to take a camera live on television for CSBK. You're not going to disappoint them, are you?
I'm not. I'm going to do all I can do.
He's going to go with a spare bike. He's just waiting to clear medical, and he's going to go out.
Okay. Just an update on Alex Dumas. Dumas, rather.
I gotta go.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. We're going to call upon David MacKay to have a little chat with him. The story behind this young man appearing on the podium in his last appearance with CSBK. The important thing that we want to know is that he made the long drive up from down around Grand Bend, Ontario, to be here today. Now, David won the first round of the SOAR Series, which is the regional series down at Grand Bend. And in spite of having the points lead in that championship, he has vacated that and come up to run in the Nationals. There's a good reason for it. Tell us about it, David.
You know what? This is the show. This is where the best racing in the country happens. And I've been around SOAR for a lot of years, but at the end of the day, this is where I needed to be to prove that I'm one of the best racers. And I felt that this is the right place to be for me this weekend.
Now, you be honest with me. When you stood at that podium in Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, did you find yourself with a bit of a lump in your throat?
I did. I mean, whenever you get on the podium, especially at this level, it's just a very special thing. And no matter what happens in front of you, if it's a crash or anything, it's always going to put a lump in your throat, and it's always a special feeling no matter how many times you can be up there.
Not entirely unique, but in your case, it is true of many riders where your mechanic is actually your very good friend and your father.
That's true. We got my dad does a lot of our wrenching. We got Andrew Westbrook here helping us with the suspension and a lot of that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much just the three of us, and my dad does a lot of the grunt work. And I can't thank him enough for helping me out and making this possible.
Do friends and family, are they aware that you're live on YouTube right now?
I don't know if they're aware I'm live right now, but I definitely have people back home just aware that what's going on this weekend and keeping track of the timing and wishing me luck. And it's great to have a support network back home.
Excuse me, just 1 second, Davey. Don't go away, because I do want to bring the fans up to date. I just got notification that Alex Dumas is fine. He's going to be okay, and in fact, they're preparing his B bike. We anticipate seeing him out for the final session for this qualifying effort. That's good news, Davey. You know this kid.
I do. It's great news. It's always hard to see someone go down, and it's never a good sign. But once they get back up and get back out there, it's always a really good sign, and the day can continue without incident.
Did I happen to mention that Canadian Kawasaki Motors is sponsoring this broadcast?
You didn't, but that's great news for me.
Take your sunglasses off so the fans can see that Kawasaki. Yeah, there you go. Have you set some goals for yourself this weekend, young man?
Yeah, I've set goals. This is the first time I've ever ridden this track. So I came with the goal in mind that I needed to learn it. I needed to grow as fast as I can, but I didn't have lofty goals because it's my first time here. But we dialed it in, and we're doing as best we can, and now the goal is to get on the podium.
Yesterday they were asking folks to sum up this racetrack in one word. I'm going to put that to you. One word, sum up Calabogie Motorsports.
If I had to choose one word, I think I would choose wild. It is pretty intense. Those first couple times are pretty, you can't see much, and it's pretty wild.
I'm thankful for the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Alex Dumas has gone back out. Thank you for that, Graham. Graham Jones, who used to be the editor of Inside Motorcycles magazine, who, by the way, is our media partner in the CSBK series, and he is helping me along with information because, as you can hear, there's stuff going on in the background here that I'm not paying a whole lot of attention to just now, but we will definitely get caught up. This qualifying session will bring us into the UASA Batteries pole award at the end of the qualifying session, and we'll give you an update on that just as soon as we wind it on down. Hoping to find some more riders, riders to speak to as this qualifying session continues. When we glance up and down the pits, there is a fair amount of activity going on, so as soon as we have riders coming back in and have the opportunity to, we're going to snag them and have a little chat. There's Patrice Goyette. I don't know if he's going to be busy getting Alex's bike ready or whether he'll have a couple of minutes. Graham, perhaps you could see whether he is open for business. That's the B-bike now warming up. I wonder if we could take that in. He's out already. Excellent, excellent. I wonder if we could wander down this way and see if we could get a hold of Patrice. Patrice? Patrice? A minute. Okay, he has no time. We understand that completely. Thank you. Okay, he's got the B-bike. Dumas is out on the racetrack right now with the B-bike. They are essentially the same motorcycles, with the B-bike being a little milder tuned so that in the event of rainy weather, for instance, they could slip some rain tires on it and it would be a little more controllable rather than the high horsepower GSXR 1000. In Canadian Superbike racing, the limit for horsepower in the Superbike class is 200. And we do, of course, have the Brooklyn Cycle Racing dynometer here with us. And if the riders take their bikes to the dynos, they can tune them in and make sure that they're not exceeding that 200 horsepower limit. Now, with qualifying underway right now, we'll have a look at the standings, and it is Tommy Casas who is to the top of the leaderboard right now. Casas is on the number 18 Yamaha, and he is a former two-time sport bike champion, taking those championships for Yamaha, and with his sponsorship also through Parts Canada. So Casas in second spot right now. Trevor Daly holds on to third with Ivan Babic in fourth spot. But things have changed. Well, I love qualifying. You know, you glance down and all of a sudden, hey, things have changed quite a bit. Ben Young, Braveheart, has gone to the top of the leaderboard on the number 89 bike. Ben Young out of Collingwood, Ontario, of course, former number one plate holder here in Canada. And a shame, really, that Ben never had a chance to ride with the number one plate on his bike. Because of COVID, he did not compete last year, and that would have been his year to carry the number one plate. Zoke competed, of course, carrying the number 101. He won all 4 races, therefore he is number one again, 14th time. And if I could quote Pat Gonzalez from the track announcer's notebook, perhaps Jordan is on his fight for 15 this year. He is presently in third spot, incidentally. That's something else that's changed since I last glanced down. So he is in third spot, and fourth spot, if you're going to believe this, is the shaker. Sebastian Tremblay, if you're a CSBK fan, you're well aware Sebastian Tremblay, one of our best sport bike riders ever. And he is on a 636 Kawasaki, and he is presently in fourth spot in the qualifying session. Michael Leon, we mentioned and talked to him. Of course, he is running in fifth spot. Samuel Goran, the hot shoe rookie rider on the number 2 machine, is holding on to sixth spot. Trevor Daly has been shunted back into seventh spot. Jordan Royds, the rookie rider on the IBEW-sponsored BMW S1000 RR, Royds is sitting back in ninth spot, or he was. Now he's down to 11th spot, as again things have changed. Up top, it still remains Young and Casas running 1-2. Zoke is in second spot, or third spot, I should say, and again, Zoke is on his B-bike. So that kind of equals the levels the playing field, shall we say, in that Alex Dumas, who is arguably going to give Jordan Zoke the hardest run for his money, he is also on his B-bike. So both the top contenders on B-bikes, and the rest of the field has responded by Ben Young taking first so far, and Tommy Casas in second spot. We scan a little bit further down, and since the last couple of laps, Dumas on the number 23 machine is now sitting in 8th spot. We're going to watch and see whether he climbs up the field. Incoming is Elliot Vieira. Vieira on the number 33 machine. We'll have a chance to chat with him, perhaps, if if we could have a chat with Elliott. Now, a lot of times these riders are coming back in, and in this case, it looks like they're just going to do a tire inflation check. Sometimes they'll make a suspension adjustment. Sometimes they'll just check in with the rider, make sure everything's okay, get the feedback from that rider should any changes be needed. So the rider, in this case, Elliott Vieira in the background, he stays astride his motorcycle, helmet on, leathers on, what have you. He has no intentions of getting off and talking to us, so he's going to be going back out on that same bike. I don't think they're making any major changes to it at all, but he's getting a lot of help. Now, one of the key players in Elliott Vieira's camp is Clive Ngageem, a former 250 GP racer and a Canadian champion in that field. And he is a member of the Canadian Motorcycle Hall of Fame. He has taken Elliott Vieira under his wing and is kind of mentoring him and helping him along with his professional career, and that has been most helpful. No change on the leaderboard since we last spoke. It is still Young, Casas, Zoke, Tremblay, Leon, Dumas. Dumas up to 6th now. He was in 8th last time we checked. Okay, Samuel Goran in 7th spot. Trevor Daly in 9th, and Ivan Babik rounding out the top 10. So there we have the change there. I'm going to see if we can have a chat with the crew chief, if you will, Clive Ngageem. Clive? As to what's going on there. Clive, we are live TV on YouTube right now, and we want to know what's going on with Elliott. He had a bad practice session. We saw no lap times from his practice session this morning, and he's pulled in already. Bring us up to date, would you?
We are having, first of all, some oil pressure issues where the switch is not reading the temperature gauge, thus causing a misfire in the engine. And secondly, we're now playing with the suspension, and we think we might have too much of oil in the front fork that is not damping enough. So we're now trying to work out the issues in the Superbike practice so we can get it corrected for the 600 race tomorrow.
Okay, so essentially you're using this Superbike session as a practice session for Sport Bike.
Correct.
Okay, you don't anticipate that Elliott's going to set any barns on fire out there on the R6?
No, what we're trying to do is see if we can improve from the 206, because in order for him to win, he's got to get down to 204s, 205s. And that's what we're aiming for. So we need to work on his suspension in order to get to that level. So we're using a Superbike session to try to see if we could correct the problems.
Understood. Will you race in the Superbike race as well?
Yes, we'll race in the Superbike race as well.
Okay, Clive, thank you very much for your time. I know you guys are busy and keeping an eye on your rider out there. He hasn't had, I will take one more moment, he hasn't had a great deal of luck here in Canada. He's shown great speed, but not good luck.
He has a lot of potential as a rider. He can ride with them all. But we had a lot of issues with the engine initially. We bought a bike, but thinking it was a good bike, but the bike, we had a lot of problems. So last year, we took it apart, we built it from scratch, and went out to the SOAR event, and he won the first 2 races at SOAR. So it shows that he has the ability to run on top. And at Motorsport last year, the rain caught us in the 600 race, and he was not able to ride. But in the Superbike race, he took the 600 and respectively finished 5th and 4th in the 1000 event on his 600. So it showed the ability he has. But you need luck as well,
Weather conditions, I think, played into that as well. Of course, an R6 is somewhat easier to handle than an R1 under rainy conditions. Michael Leon just came back, and he's carrying that live camera for us. Thank you, Clive, very much. We'll see if we can have a chat with Alex Dumas. If Alex feels like talking to us, I don't know. He's had a mishap on the racetrack, and I think he's going to concentrate on his racing. So what we may have a chance to do, though, is talk to Jason Blais, who is from Liqui-Moly. He's our main contact there. He has been very instrumental in bringing that world-renowned oil company under the tent of CSBK. He's a very, very keen race fan, and has been instrumental also in making sure that Alex Dumas is sponsored by Liqui-Moly, the complete Liqui-Moly package. I don't know, Spencer, if we got a good shot of that bike and and Alex's leathers and what have you, but you can see that Liqui-Moly very well represented. Let's see if we can get Jason here for a minute. Jason, got a minute? Okay. Tire warmers are going on, the bike is up on its stands, and the laptop is out. That's what top tuners use nowadays. More than a 10 mil wrench is a laptop computer. He'll be dialing in the information, downloading, and well, they're also making some changes to the front end there as well. Making a cut, I believe that is for the transponder, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see if they can remount that transponder, because that is vital, of course. That transponder has to be working in order for us to get the lap times. No lap times, no qualifying. Okay, a lot of activity still on pit row there. Michael Leon's bike is being rolled out again, and it looked like they made a quick suspension change to that. Michael quite confident and hoping that he'll do very, very well. Now, we have been turned down a number of times, of course, for possible interviews, and it's quite understandable as these folks are very much concentrating on their qualifying effort here. This qualifying effort, again, presented by Canadian Kawasaki Motors. And, of course, the broadcast, in turn, being supported by Liqui-Moly. Okay, tire warmers are coming off. It looks like Dumas is getting ready to roll out. Although having said that, we note that Patrice Goyette is still working on the laptop, keying in the information that Suzuki GSXR 1000 may need to translate into horsepower. Let's have a look at the running order now. Ben Young in first spot. I'm going to have to find a shady spot here that I can read this. Ben Young in first spot. Zoke is in second. Jordan Zoke in second spot. No, pardon me. Tommy Casa still has second spot. Jordan Zoke is in third. Sebastian Tremblay, then Michael Leon, then Samuel Garan, then Trevor Dady. So essentially we haven't had any changes in that period of time. No changes in the running order. And lap times remain pretty much the same as they were in the last go. So, well, now the opportunity to speak with Jason Blais. Good. Jason, I apologize for calling you away. I know you're really, really busy helping out Alex, but we are live on YouTube now, and I really wanted to get you in on this. You're a key player on making sure that kid is under the Liqui-Moly tent.
Well, you know, Patrice, he's the superbike guru at the end of the day, so when something like this happens, we try to be around, try to do whatever we can to make him back on track and get him a good qualification time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the adrenaline is running very high with Alex. You know, I work with Alex at the fast riding school down at Shannonville, and I know he's a really nice kid, and I really enjoy working with him, what have you. But he shunned me like a bad cold when I asked him if he wanted an interview. He is very concentrating at the job at hand.
Yeah, he's kind of shy, Alex. You know, he's kind of really humble, does his own little thing, and he's not used to the fame, but listen, we've all seen the way he rides, right? So,
didn't he do us proud in the United States of America?
Unbelievable, unbelievable. To everybody in Canada, everybody in Quebec, so proud to have a rider. Not only a really good rider, but you know, I like to compare him to George St. Pierre, where he's a very respectable person, the way he speaks. You know what I mean? He's not totally out there, and yeah, listen, Liqui-Moly, we couldn't find a better partner.
Well done. And the association with Liqui-Moly has been around for a while.
Yes, actually, listen, we've been with Alex. We used to race in US GPR2. I think he was like 8 or 9 years old when we started supporting him in the States, and then Moto America off and on, depending on what team he was with. When he did ice racing, also all his winter stuff up here in Quebec. So listen, it's super exciting to have him here for Canadian Superbike. Really excited.
I can't help but think that it's kind of ironic that his first Superbike race should be here in Canada after building himself up to that level in the United States. I mean, he was on the brink of breaking into their Superbike class and chose to come home.
Yeah, well, exactly. So people who haven't been following, Alex had a career choice to make, and he decided he wanted to be a pilot. So he's actually actively flying almost every day back home in Quebec City where he is. So, you know, learning how to fly and we're doing the Canadian Superbike Series just made more sense to him in his future. So that's great for us, really.
Yeah. We can't have asked for a better season. Coming into this season, we have Jordan Zook again protecting that number 1 plate for the. You know, he's had it 14 times, and will he win 15? Man, I don't think Jordan has ever been faced with such an incredible field to fight against.
Oh, I agree. It's going to be an amazing series. It's going to be tight. We really don't know what's going to happen. And you know, one thing, you could never ever count Jordan out. Like, just when you think you're like, oh, you know, this guy's going to beat Jordan, he pulls something out of his hat. So Jordan Zook is, you know, all these titles, wins, like they're not for nothing. You know what I mean? Jordan Zook is something special, you know?
Yeah. And Jordan Zook will tell you himself, they don't come easy.
Oh, no. And all these guys all been working, you know, whether you're talking to any of these guys or training off season and stuff like that, like a lot of cycling, training in the gym, trying to get fit for the season. So, you know, it's not just the weekends at the track, it's really like the whole package that really makes a difference. So hats off to all these guys, because all these guys they're all my hero. Anybody who could ride like that is, you know, for me it's like having an S on your chest, like Superman. Really crazy.
Any predictions, any bets?
No, I don't want to go down that road. I don't want to jinx myself.
Okay, you're obviously a very keen fan, and you know, as sponsor for Alex Dumas, you jump over the wall, you start putting the tire wrappers on. You knew exactly what to do.
Well, at the end of the day, half the team's on the pit wall, the other team's here, trying to get the second bike ready. Now he's running the spare bike, right? So all the settings are totally different on that. So like we just, you know, we'll see what he can do. I'm looking forward to seeing actually his time he's going to do out on the spare bike, right? Okay,
I don't know if you were aware, but Jordan Zook is also on his B bike.
Oh, I did not know that. So yeah, that's good news for everybody.
Great stuff, Jason. We very much appreciate you taking the time to talk.
Frank, it's great to see you. It's great to see everybody here. Thank you for all the fans. All this happens because of the fans. So thank you for everybody. We'll see you soon.
Make sure you tell the people at head office how good we are, huh?
Of course we do. Nice hat, by the way.
Jason Blais from Liqui Moly has been a key player in the association between CSBK and Liqui Moly. They've been involved with us for a couple of years now, and we're very, very happy. Okay, our session is over. Qualifying session is over. Let's get into some shade where we can read things here. And take note that Ben Young has taken first spot. Jordan Zook in second. Maybe you could help me with this, Graham. I'm having a heck of a time seeing those names and numbers.
Yep. Thomas in second, Jordan Zook in third.
Thomas in second, Jordan Zook in third.
Dumas.
And then Dumas, he worked his way all the way up into fourth spot. Wow. And then Tremblay on the 636 Kawasaki, the Turcotte Performance Rider. And then Michael Leon, so we'll have footage from Michael Leon's bike. You've probably seen it already as we are going live on this one. So this is so new to me, Graham, that it's like, wow, we are live, and the stuff that's happening back here is not stuff we're going to have to catch later on YouTube. You can watch it right now. And families and friends from around this country are doing just that. In fact, from around the world are doing just that. I live down near Trenton, Ontario, which is a Air Force base, Canadian Forces Air Force base, and I have a couple of friends that are stationed offshore, and I know they're going to be watching today as well. They follow Canadian Superbike racing when they're home and when they're deployed. So, hi guys, keep up the good work. You're making us proud. That's for the Canadian military. Now I'm wondering if we can get a chance to chat with Elliot Vieira. We talked to Clive Ngageem, but Vieira, this is another situation, by the way, where Vieira is downloading with his team. He's telling them his experiences on track, what the bike was doing and where, and they will assess what needs to be done as a result of that feedback. So again, qualifying session is done for Superbikes, and Graham Jones is going to be wandering down here and hopefully get us some more riders to talk to. But meanwhile, we'll see if we can get Elliot Vieira on the mic here, if he has the time. I know the qualifying is done now, so it's not as though he's going to jump back on the bike and head back onto the racetrack. So perhaps he will find a couple of minutes for us. Absolutely beautiful weather here at Calabogie Motorsports. Yesterday we were here for a practice session and a track day for Pro 6 Cycle, and it was kind of cloudy, and I had my hoodie on for most of the day, but today is very, very different. It is really warm out here, and of course that's going to make for really good traction and very, very good racing this afternoon, or I should say tomorrow afternoon. Doubleheader tomorrow, by the way. That won't be live, but you'll be able to catch it on YouTube shortly thereafter. Okay, pro riders are now rolling back in. There's Ernest Bernard on the 72 machine.
I think we're ready to sign off.
Okay. Shall I do a sign off?
Yeah, you do a sign off.
Yeah, here comes Ivan Babic, Michael Van Eck. Okay, the riders are coming back into the pit area now. Qualifying is finished. I'm very, very happy you could join us, race fans, here on YouTube Live CSBK, presented by Canadian Kawasaki Motors, with support from Liqui-Moly and a bunch of other sponsors. I'm sorry I don't have that sheet with me just now, but we did mention them earlier in the broadcast, and we do very much appreciate their support. See you next